The bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was one of the most catastrophic events in recent history. Roughly 70,000 to 135,000 people died in Hiroshima alone. 60,000 to 70,000 people died in Nagasaki. To put into perspective how large of a number that is, the Michigan Stadium, the largest stadium in the United States, holds a bit over 107,000 people. If we took the high end of those bombings and put them together, that'll be about 2 Michigan stadiums. The scale of this is insane and scary. To understand this a bit further, the question we should ask ourselves is, what is nuclear war?
Nuclear weapons are some of the most destructive weapons in human history. One nuclear weapon could kill hundreds of thousands of people. The effects of a nuclear bomb can be felt from miles away, and even if you are far enough from the immediate impact, the effects of nuclear radiation could kill you from up to 45 miles away. Hitting a major city with nuclear weapons would destroy transportation, communication, economic infrastructure, and public health. This makes it hard for people who somehow found a way to survive to receive help because everything is destroyed. After President Roosevelt died, it was up to President Harry Truman to decide how to end the war. Throughout the war, the Japanese showed that they would rather die than surrender to a foreign leader. The Japanese even taught civilians how to kill people with weapons, and they were willing to die for their country. The new president and his advisors knew that an invasion on Japan would cause massive casualties on both sides, and the United States wanted a way to quickly end the war with minimal casualties. After he became president, Truman learned of the secret creation of the first atomic bomb called the Manhattan Project, and after a successful test of the bomb, he was willing to use it. Truman told the Japanese that they must unconditionally surrender or they will face prompt and utter destruction. After no reply, Truman made the call to drop the first bomb on Hiroshima and 3 days later another on Nagasaki. After the two weapons were dropped on both cities and its people were completely destroyed, Japan's leader officially declared the war over. To this day, people still wonder if President Truman made the right choice. Some people argue that the war was already over and that Japan's leaders knew this and would have been able to end the war officially through negotiation. People think that it was an immoral act to kill innocent civilians. Others think that the US could have targeted other military bases in Japan that weren't around major cities and conclude the war that way. However, some people argued that this wouldn't have been enough to get the people to stop fighting. Other people thought that just a demonstration of the balanced power would have been enough to get Japan to start talks of surrendering the war, and that a weapon of mass destruction, such as an atomic bomb, should never be under the control of humans.
An act of war on this scale is far too exaggerated. Even though people may argue that this action prevented more people from dying, putting civilians in this much harm and pain is much worse. It's hard to say how much this act of war would have prevented if the bomb was never dropped. But it was used as a demonstration of power, a lesson for the rest of the world, a reason for people to fear. I personally believe that this is the last thing we need. With leaders that we've seen in the past, pride can come into play, and the need to try and outdo one another can end as quickly as it started. Hopefully the world has learned a valuable lesson. Nuclear war is not the way to go. Endangering the lives of future doctors, scientists, and teachers scares me. Maybe, just maybe, we won't see anything like this again. It wasn't worth the loss.